Hey guys, Luke with Logical Lacrosse here, and welcome to part 2 of my Week 3 review of all the games that occurred this weekend. Of course, as always, be sure to look in the description. I'll have a list of all the games I covered, so if you want to go look at part 1 and see if maybe I covered your game there, feel free to check that out if you're just coming for one game, but otherwise, let's get into this. So, first game for this part is Providence at Bryant. Bryant's always a really good team. They're not flashy. I believe they lost last week. But they win this week, defend their home turf. Bryant takes this matchup 11-8. Providence had a good win against Holy Cross last week. But offense struggles again for the Friars. Total attendance of this game, 370 people. I think what really did it for this game was out of halftime, Bryant wins the third quarter 3-0, makes a difference in a 3-goal game. Providence just did not make the proper adjustments or whatever to come out better in the third quarter. Winning that early third quarter is one of the most important parts of the game. Shots in favor of the Friars, 37-30. Turnovers, only 10 for Providence, so it's really good. So 16 for Bryant, they won. I guess their turnovers just came at times it didn't really matter, or some defense played well. But ground balls in favor of the Bulldogs, 32-26. A killer for Providence, 0 for 1 on the man up, 2 for 5 for Bryant. 5 penalties on Providence. That's just not a good recipe to win. So my player of the game, we'll start with Providence. Nick Hadzapatrikos, 3 goals, good game. He had a good game last week. Players of the game for Bryant, Marco Rourke, 3 goals, 2 assists. Really can't go wrong with that. And this is really the reason they won, I believe. Luke Caracello, he had 15 saves. So like I mentioned on those turnovers, a lot of turnovers, and the defense was still played well. The goaltender really stepped up and kept his team from losing. So next game wasn't really that competitive, and I'm talking about Boston hosting Dartmouth. Dartmouth, kind of the ugly stepsister of the Ivy League. No one really talks about them as much, and they've struggled for a long time, and it doesn't seem like that's going to be changing anytime soon. Boston takes this game 15-8, really never in doubt. Shots in the Terriers' favors, 46-26. 26 turnovers for Dartmouth, which is really high. 18 for Boston, not good either. They got away with it because they were playing a weaker opponent. Ground balls, both teams did have 37, so they split that. Face-off, Boston took the advantage, 18-8. Man up, good for both teams. 1 for 2 for Dartmouth, 2 for 3 for Boston, so 50% conversion rate or plus. That's pretty good. Players of the game, we'll start with Dartmouth. I'm giving it to Ben Martin. 2 goals, 4 assists, 6-point game. Really can't go wrong with that, and he couldn't really do much better than that. Matt Paul, he had 2 goals, so those guys had a good game for Dartmouth. For Boston, who else would it be besides this dynamic duo of James Burr and Chris Gray? James Burr, 3 goals. Chris Gray, 3 goals, 6 assists. A lot of those going to Burr. So yeah, Boston, another good game by that duo of offensive players. Defense really played well. They really kind of dominated this game. So things are definitely looking up for the Terriers, and they're looking to prove that they're going to be a pretty tough team to beat in the Patriot League. So next up, Vermont, who's kind of died down a bit after their opening win blowout over first-year program Utah. Vermont hosted Holy Cross. Vermont wins 9-7, closer than it should have been. Holy Cross really struggled recently. They didn't play that well against Providence, so I think Vermont turned out to not be as good as what we were thinking after that Utah game. Attendance of 357 people. Shots in favor of the Crusaders, 36-33. 16 turnovers for Holy Cross, 15 for Vermont, so a little too high, but not horrible. Clears, both teams deserve credit for this. Holy Cross 100%, 12 for 12, really good, kept them in the game, and 15 for 16 for the Catamounts. Really can't knock on their clears. 18-16 in favor of Holy Cross for ground balls. Face-offs, they really won this, 15-5. Both teams 0% of the man up. The Crusaders 0 for 2 really makes the difference of the game. They didn't convert on any of them. And they lose by 2. And 0 for 5 for Vermont, which is pathetic in my opinion. You got 5 chances, you can't put it in once. That's pretty bad. Also, Holy Cross, another reason they lost, they had allowed Vermont 5-man up, even though they didn't give up a goal. That's still 5 extra possessions for the Catamounts. So my players of the game, we'll start with Holy Cross. Dan O'Connell, 15-17 on the face-offs. Really could not have a much better game than that. So congratulations to him. We'll see if he can keep that up. In the Patriot League, and Wills Brandenburg, he had 2 goals, 1 assist. Pretty good game, especially in a defensive game. For Vermont, I got Ben French, 2 goals, and Dawes Milchin, he had 1 goal and 2 assists. So a pretty good game between both teams. 2 teams I think are going to be lower on the totem pole this year, but nevertheless, it was a competitive matchup, and I think both teams could take some good out of this matchup. So Delaware at NJIT. I tried to actually watch this game, but you had to pay, and I wasn't going to pay to watch the Highlanders. No offense to NJIT, but when there are other games I could already watch, not going to pay to watch them. And they lose at home, 12-4. The Blueheads really brought the heat. It was 3-0 at halftime, though, for Delaware, so the Highlanders really did play extremely well. They just tired out. Attendance of 117 people. Pretty good for a program that's really struggled to put on the wins. Hopefully they can get some wins and bring that up. Shots really tell the story of the game. Delaware 55, the Highlanders 31. Turnovers, I will say NJIT has improved. It was only 17 this time. They've been up to close to 30 the past 2 weeks, so a lot better. I know 17 is still high, but they definitely brought it down. 15 for Delaware. Ground balls, they really dominate the ground balls, 32-16 for Delaware. Players of the game, also with Delaware. Charlie Kitchen, 2 goals, 1 assist, really good game. And Matt DeLuca, he had 17 saves for the Blue Hens, so that's another reason why NJIT did not get more goals. They had some good shots on goal. And I only got 1 player of the game for the Highlanders, and that is Alexander Hunt. And he had 22 saves, a monster effort by him. This game should have been a lot uglier looking at those numbers, and he kept it a lot closer, kept it into a single-digit loss. So great game for him. Hopefully his defense can help him out a little more, and the offense can improve. But Delaware, good win. So Robert Morris had to rebound after that really big loss to Penn State, and they got a tough opponent against Georgetown on the road. They fail to win this one. Georgetown takes it 14-11. Total attendance is 787 people, so pretty good. Robert Morris did lead at the half, 6-5. They did play a lot better this game. Georgetown had to wake up. Shots in favor of the Colonials, 44-41. Ground balls, 28-29 in favor of Georgetown. Face-offs, Robert Morris takes us 18-11. So my players of the game will start with Robert Morris, Ryan Smith, 3 goals, 1 assist, and Alex Hager, 13 saves, really helped keep this game close for Robert Morris. And with Georgetown, we got Daniel Bucaro, 4 goals, 2 assists. Jake Caraway, 3 goals, 3 assists. Great game by him. I believe I saw a thing say he broke the 100-point mark this game. So if that's true, then congrats to him. And Owen McElroy had 15 saves, so really good goalie play in this game. So both reasons this game was kept close. Georgetown just made a couple more plays. Robert Morris, I think, they definitely improved, and they're going to get some wins soon. But congrats to the Hoyas on a good home win. So the first upset of this part, pretty big upset. Rutgers was in the top 10, and they lose at home 10-9 to Army West Point. So a total of attendance of 1,270 people. Really disappointed they all went to show out for Rutgers, and they lose. Rutgers, this is not a good loss for them for NCAA hopes. They had a bad non-conference loss last year that a lot of people believe kept them from getting the final at-large bid to the NCAA tournament. Both teams had 40 shots. Turnovers, 11 for Army, really good. 20 for Rutgers, sloppy with the ball, and that makes a difference. You gave Army 9 more extra possessions than you when you add up all the turnovers together. Man up, Rutgers, both teams terrible on the man up. Army 0 for 2, and Rutgers 0 for 4. I mean, Rutgers has got some really good offensive players, and the fact that they couldn't put the ball in once on man up's pretty bad. So they're going to definitely want to work on that. They're going to be working on the man up in practice, actually, not just definitely. But players of the game, Army, Brendan Nichtern, 3 goals, 1 assist, great game. AJ Barretto, 13 saves, a lot of them big. 1 goal game, good goalie play makes the difference, and he had great goalie play. And for Rutgers, Kieran Mullins, he had a hat trick, so he played well as usual. And Max Edelman, their goaltender, I know they lost, but he had 17 saves, so Army really probably should have won this game by more. Rutgers was pretty sloppy this game, so Edelman, don't know if he has any relations to Julian Edelman, but if he does, you can tell where he gets his ability to be such a gamer from. But great win for Army. They play Syracuse next. I think the Syracuse-Army matchup will be a lot closer than the Syracuse-Albany matchup. And Rutgers is going to have to find a way to rebound. They kind of blew their breathing room in the non-conference now. They're going to have to do really well in the Big Ten now to get at least an at-large bid. So Hobart, for this matchup, another huge offensive output. Gave up double-digit goals again, though. Hobart on the road at Siena wins 22-12. Attendance of 535 people, so thank you to those people that showed up. Never really a close game. Hobart blew into the first quarter, started fast. They took the lead in the first quarter, and at the end of that quarter, it was 7-1 for them. Shots in their favor, 51-34. 18 turnovers for them, though, way too high. They got away with that against some weaker opponents, such as Canisius and now Siena, but when they play the better teams, they're not going to get away with that. Siena only had 11 turnovers, so that's really good for them that they only give up that many. You'd think they'd give up more in such a blowout, but they did not. And Hobart does dominate the ground balls, 51-20, and they murdered it in the face-off game, which really allowed them to pile on 33-5. I don't think I've ever seen a game with 38 face-offs, so just the fact that there are that many face-offs and the guy won so many is really impressive. Players of the game, though, we'll get into Hobart, and I just mentioned the face-offs, and of course the Bogo is going to take my number 1 spot. Matthew Pedersen, 32 of 37 on face-offs. Really good. I mean, you really can't complain about that. That guy went home happy. Chris Aslanian, 1 goal, 4 assists, 5-point game. And Jason Knox, 9 goals. Oh my goodness. This guy also had double-digit goals. Crazy game by him. And Siena, I'm going to give 1 out. And Keenan Cook takes it with 2 goals, 1 assist. Hobart, really good offense. Defense has got to improve, but if they keep putting up this many goals and the defense can knock that goals against average down by 1 or 2 goals, they're going to be pretty tough, and they might be a sleeper team. So a lot of people are wondering how Utah is going to follow up on their first win in program history, and also wondering how Hofstra was going to follow up on that big upset over Lehigh. Both teams played really well. Hofstra hosted Utah, and they win 14-10. But it was a really close, competitive game. I watched part of this game during the halftime of the Loyola Hopkins game, and it was a really good, entertaining game. Total attendance of 862 people. It's really cool. Those people got to see out in Philadelphia a team from Utah. I bet they never thought they were going to get to do that 5 years ago. What really made the difference in this game was Hofstra won the third quarter 3-1, and they just came out firing all cylinders out of halftime. And to win these tight games, the most important times of the game is to win the first 5 of the third and the last 5 of the fourth. You got to win those 2 time frames, and Hofstra won it, and it made the difference. But Utah still played well. Hofstra wins the shot battle, 46-33. Turnovers really high for both teams. Part of that due to rides and good defensive play. But 17 for Utah, 19 for Hofstra. 42 ground balls for Hofstra compared to 29 for Utah. Face-offs, Hofstra wins it 18-8. Utah, another difference maker besides the third quarter. 0-for-3 on the man up. Can't win when you don't take advantage of your power play. Hofstra did take advantage of it, 3-for-6. Also, 6 Utah penalties is ridiculous. They gotta get that cleaned up. I don't know if they were sloppy, if they was like a fight or a scrum, but 6 is way too high, and that's one of the reasons they lose this game. But Utah, Josh Stout, he's my player of the game for them. He's definitely shown he is the best player on that roster. He had 5 goals, another monster game, 50% of their scoring output. And Leo Donnelly, 15 saves, really kept this game close. The goaltender, great play by both those guys. For Hofstra, Ryan Tierney takes my number 1 spot, 4 goals, 1 assist. And Dylan McIntosh with 3 goals. So a really good game. Utah, I think they're going to get better quicker than what I thought, which I'm really excited about. Hofstra followed up a big win with another really impressive win over improving Utah. I'll be interested to see how they play moving forward. So next, kind of a sleeper game, to be honest. Canisius at Mercer out in Georgia, 13-10 in favor of Canisius. Total attendance of 244 people. What really made the difference, close game, but Canisius wins the fourth quarter 6-1, which you're going to win when you do that. When you dominate the fourth quarter, you're usually going to win. Shots in favor of Canisius, 45-37. 16 turnovers for them, while as 18 for Mercer. Ground balls go into the Bears, 26-22. Terrible man up on both teams, 0 for 8 for Canisius and 1 for 4 for Mercer. 8 penalties for Mercer, that's just awful. There must have been a fight. I don't think this game was streamed, but if you have 8 penalties, you got to give credit to the Mercer man down D to stop them every time, 8 times, but the fact that you put your defense in that position so many times makes a difference. They get tired out, they might give up a sloppy goal later. Man, that's also 8 extra possessions for Canisius where your offense doesn't have the ball. So terrible on whoever got that many penalties. Those guys should be ashamed of themselves, to be honest. I mean, you really hurt your team there, and they're looking for their first win, and it's one of the reasons they did not get it this week. Player of the game for Canisius, though, I'm giving it to Jacob Buck, and he had 3 goals, 2 assists, really good game. And Pascal Coombs, he's really the one-man show for Mercer. I think they're really going to struggle this year, unfortunately. But Pascal Coombs had another good game. He had 2 goals, 1 assist. So, a good game. This was Lac Sports Network. Game of the week. Really, pretty much lived up to that. Ohio State at UMass. Ohio State takes it 11-7. I thought UMass was actually going to take this one, but I was definitely proven wrong. Ohio State came to play. Total of attendance is 757 people, so really good. Ohio State won the third quarter 4-0, and in a 4-goal game, that made the difference. And like I said earlier, you gotta win the early third quarter to win against good opponents. Shots in favor of the Minutemen, 45-41. Man up, another difference maker. Man up, Ohio State, 2 for 2 on the man up. UMass, 0 for 2. So, made it a 4-goal game instead of a 2-goal game. You never know. With that point differential, it's a totally different game. Players of the game, though, we'll start with UMass. Gabriel Prochik, 7 goals, and Sean Sconone, he had 20 saves. Amazing amount of saves. His defense has got to help him out more. The fact he had to make that many saves is pretty bad, but you can't take anything away from him. He's given Troutner at a High Point a run for his money for best goalie. So good job for him. Really good game. He should not feel bad even though they lost. For Ohio State, I'm giving it to Trey LeClaire. He had 4 goals. Really good game by him. And Josh Kierson, 17 saves for him. So UMass did have some good shots on goal that Kierson just didn't let in. So another battle of goaltenders. Goaltender battles have really started heating up since this week. So Ohio State, good win. UMass looking for that first win still. Towson's going to be dangerous, so UMass got to improve if they want to win the Colonial, but the Buckeyes are going to be a contender in the Big Ten. So, final game for part 2. Really not an exciting game. Battle of New Jersey. Totally 2 different programs. Princeton at Monmouth. Monmouth, a really young program. And Princeton, a very good, well-known program. I think a lot of people knew that this game was going to turn out. Princeton takes it 23-7. Really good attendance, though. 796 people showed up at this game. Never close. Princeton was leading 7-0 at the end of the first quarter. Shots in the Tigers' favor, 59-39. 12 turnovers for them, really good. And 19 for Monmouth, too high. 46 ground balls for Princeton, whereas 29 for Monmouth. Man up, bad on both teams. That's my one knock on Princeton. They were only 1 for 5 on the man up. Not good enough when they want to be beating teams like Yale and Cornell. And 0 for 4 for Monmouth. They were just completely outmatched in this game, though. So I think that can improve later on, especially in conference in the Metro. Princeton players of the game, I'm giving it to Chris Brown, 5 goals, 2 assists, monster game, and Emmett Cordry, 6 goals, 2 assists. Those guys had monster games. They were definitely really happy after that game. For Monmouth, I'm giving my player of the game to Anthony Sarno. He was their best offensive player, basically 50% of their goals with 3. So Princeton didn't really get challenged. We'll have to see how good they are coming up. I think Monmouth's better than what the scores showed. They were just completely outmatched, but they'll be playing teams closer to their level later on in the year. So guys, that'll do it for part 2 of my NCAA Lacrosse Week 3 review. If you like this video or found it useful, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps grow the channel, and I definitely appreciate it. If you're looking for more content like this, please feel free to follow me on Twitter or Instagram. It's at the same username, logical_lacrosse. I also have a website where I'm posting my blogs and written versions of my YouTube videos and stuff like that, and more analysis. You can go to that at www.logicallacrosse.com. You can also just type it into Google. Finally, you can see me on the Google search algorithm. It works, so that's really cool. So thank you for all the people that have been supporting me as we've kind of grown this up slowly but surely. But other than that, I look forward to seeing you guys at part 3, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day.